Update. My best friend's fiancé groped me at a party and now I think our friendship is over. Original post. Probably not the first time someone asked this, but my female 30 best friend's female 30 fiancé male 26 touched me. I slapped him hard twice before he stopped. He was like, okay, fine, and left the kitchen. The friend female 31 to tell the party witnessed it. We don't know how to go from there. Knowing her, she is probably not gonna leave him and maybe cut us off instead. She has an 11-month-old daughter with this douche. I had a very low cut and backless dress. I needed to mention this because I feel immense guilt. I know my dress was commented on a lot that night. I can't help but wonder if I brought this on myself. What I need is simple. Should I or should I not tell her? If I tell her, this may end our 25-year-long friendship because she is head over heels in love with him. But how can I let it go? Edit. Thank you very much for the support. My best friend knows I never liked her fiancé, so I was afraid she would think I just want to end the relationship. I didn't see my friend, the host, coming in the kitchen. He thought we were alone. I think he stopped because of that rather than me hitting him, because he kept saying, "Ow, that's adorable," when I slapped him. So my friend, the host, called me and told me that my best friend has messaged her on IG, asking if something has happened between me and her fiancé at a party. She told her what happened, and my best friend hasn't answered her yet. Should I talk to her or let her contact me herself? The host reckons I should wait and see what her reaction to her fiancé touching her best friend is. I can't report him. He was drunk, and I was drinking and have no way of proving that I wasn't drunk. You know how these things are important in such cases. Scanty dress and alcohol, etc. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. What kind of friend is she if she ditches you after you tell her you were harassed/violated? Not any friend I'd want to have around. If this friend came to you and told you that your boyfriend touched her, would you ditch her? Would you stick with that guy? Probably not. Your dress does not have anything to do with what happened. A disgusting man is the reason this happened. The only reason. This is illegal behavior if you're in the US. You have a witness. You could charge him if you wanted to. I'd tell your friend, because what if he gets handsy again? He doesn't have any consequences. If the friend does cut you off, then that's a blessing in disguise. You don't need to be around people like that. A mutual friend tried to violate me. I told my friends and they stuck with him. 3 years later, I'm doing amazing. It sucked at first to lose a decade-long friendship, but now I'm surrounded by people that would be supportive no matter what. Please do not feel this guilt. A gross, disgusting man did something horrible. This is not your fault. We thought about charging him, but I don't know how serious they would take it. You did not bring anything on yourself. He shouldn't have even touched you, much less after you said to stop. Tell her this happened, and if she doesn't believe you or cuts you out, it's probably better she's not in your life as well as him. Probably should have mentioned this in the post. She doesn't have a job, so it won't be easy to break up with a baby and no job. If she doesn't break up, she will live with him with this knowledge. I know it's awful, but that sucks for her. He literally violated you. Offer her support if she chooses to break up with him, but don't sacrifice your safety for her comfort. I would gladly let her stay with me until she gets her life together. I don't think she would like to trade down her fancy apartment in the city, though. And now for the first update. I'll just dive right into the update. Many things have happened, but I'm unfortunately not any wiser for it. I usually have Wednesdays off and I like to have a lie-in till lunchtime. Today, however, I woke up to the door and phone ringing at 8:30. It was my best friend, so I buzzed her in. She turned up with him and the baby girl. They were both all smiles. I let them in and went to the bathroom. I took a shower. I have been getting angry red rash on my body since it happened, and a cold shower usually calm it down. When I got out, I found them in the kitchen making coffee. They had brought croissants with them. I just stood there waiting for them to talk, but my best friend just handed me the baby and started a small chat about the weather and how the baby girl hasn't been sleeping well, etc. I didn't comment on anything, so she just looked at me and started crying. She told me that the douche and I were the people she trusted the most, and that it's tearing her apart seeing that we don't get along. She always felt like she had to choose between the two of us, and that she refused to do it anymore and needed us to at least be civil to each other. He was patting her on the back. I said, "That ship has sailed, don't you think?" So she turned angrily to him and asked him to do what he had came here for. So he started apologizing and saying that he was very drunk and didn't remember a lot, but that is very remorseful. I wasn't looking at him, and when he finished, I asked her if she knew what he did. He interrupted her and said, "Yes, we have already discussed this." I told her that I will speak to her later and they left. But before they went, she hugged me and said she's sorry. I went back to bed. When I woke up, I was still so angry. How could she just bring him unannounced to my place and demand that I forgave him on the spot? So I texted her that I did not appreciate her bringing him into my home when he, not 3 days ago, violated me. She said I was exaggerating. I asked her if she would think it was okay that someone pinched her like that and laughed when she couldn't fend him off. I can show him his nail marking. She told me didn't remember any of it. I texted her that I'm planning to report him to the police. She called me immediately and was shaking with anger. How could I do something like this to her and her baby? Why am I being so selfish? I asked how she is terrified of him when she knows what he's capable of. That the reason he hurt me was because I didn't like him, and it bothered him. She started crying, then she ended with, "How will you prove that it wasn't you who came on to him? There's always two sides of a story, and the police will want to hear both." I hang up. She called a few times more, but I didn't answer. She texted now that she loved me, but that I must think of her before doing anything stupid that can ruin her life and our relationship. So that's that. I am probably going to lose her, and no matter how easy many of you think it is to do the right thing, I feel like I am the biggest POS right now. Never answer her calls again. She's a piece of trash. But first text her, "It really hurts and scares me that you would lie to the police to protect someone that did that to me. You know, Name violated me. He admitted it. And you're still willing to lie to the police to protect him? Why would you do that?" If her response doesn't directly refute that the dude did that to you, then you have the evidence you need to, hopefully, ensure her lie won't be taken seriously. If she tries to lie, the officers will even let her know that doing so could result in legal action against her as well. This will also be useful if they start spreading false information to mutual friends. If the friendship is doomed, you might as well do whatever is needed to protect yourself. You report him, you use the host as your witness, and go from there. Screw your friend if she isn't pissed as hell about what he did. I just knew it in my heart that she would be this way. Why do you say you knew this? I'm genuinely curious whether this feeling of yours comes from some past behaviors, or is it about her relationship with this douche, and the fact they have a daughter together. I know how she thinks, and she always ditched her friends for tall, handsome men. He is a bully and doesn't treat her well, and I have told her that multiple times, and she always defended him. I thought this time won't be any different, even if it's much more serious. I'm so sorry this happened to you. What a disgusting violation, and what a trash friend to protect her pred of a boyfriend. None of it is your fault. You are not being selfish. You did not ruin anyone's life or relationship. Take pictures of the nail marks and compile any text messages, / proof you might have. The fact that your friend is throwing doubt on you makes me believe they'll do whatever they need to maintain that he's not guilty of what he did. Cover your behind, keep your head up, you'll get through this. I did that. It was the friend's idea. I would have never think of it otherwise. I even have bruising on my wrist. It got darker the next day. I took a picture of it as well. My friend glanced a couple of times at it. Turned out she probably knew what he did that same night, because my friend's husband kicked the douche out not long after I left. She had to leave the party early. She must have asked him why they were being kicked out. Didn't try to talk to me until she showed up today. I am so angry and disappointed. Now for more update. Hi again. We have just had a group call with me, the witness, and her to try and find out what's really going on in her relationship. We started with telling her that she could trust us, and we would do anything to protect her. I know that. We asked her if he ever hurt her or her baby. No, never. If he had forced himself on her. No. She told us they rarely had intimacy, and that she almost always was the initiator. But this is going to be disgusting, I'm sorry. When they got back from the party, they did it twice, and he was rough. She'll like it that way. And they have been doing it every day this week. But she's a bit off because she's afraid he's fantasizing about me and not her. I just sat there in shock. The witness asked her, "Do you understand that if I wasn't there, he would have forced himself on her? Is that the fantasy that put you off?" She was silent for a moment, and then said, "Nah, he's not like that." I asked her if she believed me. "Of course I do. I know it touched you and it was wrong, but he told me you kinda moaned, so he thought you were into it." Then he saw the witness and was embarrassed and left. I started yelling at her and told her that Mitch didn't believe me at all. But she Mitch believed me, but she also believed he misread the signs. So the witness asked her if she was going to cover up for him if we pressed charges. She said no, but he had told her he would never forget it if I did, whatever the outcome is. So now we know how he's going to manipulate the situation. Now for the last story. My 32 female soon-to-be ex-husband, 35 male, is dating my brother's 30 male ex-girlfriend, 23 female. I want to ask him to please not bring her around our daughter again. I know this is a pretty complicated situation, so I'll try to explain as clearly as possible. I'm 32 female. I was married to a man who is 35 male for 5 years, dating for 2 before that. Earlier this year, he asked for a divorce. It was completely out of the blue. He was incredibly cold and disconnected when he asked for it, which led me to believe he was planning this for a while. He moved out within the week. Our 4-year-old daughter and I stayed in the house. Recently, my daughter's daycare had a Halloween fundraiser. My husband and I both attended separately, as well as some of our families, including my brother, 30 male. When my brother was younger, he dated a young woman for a short amount of time. Our family was very against the relationship. She was much younger than him. No laws were broken, but she was very young. It didn't last very long, and he broke up with her to date his now wife, 30 female, who is a lovely woman, and a close friend of mine. Once my brother met her, his entire life turned around. They have a beautiful family, and they're all very happy. I was incredibly shocked when my husband showed up to my daughter's daycare with this girl, who is now 23, as his date. I think it was incredibly disrespectful of him to bring a new girlfriend to our daughter's daycare without any prior discussion. I think the entire relationship is inappropriate. Obviously, I'm not happy seeing him date anyone, but the fact that he's dating her is disgusting, especially since she has a prior history with the family. I don't have any contact with him aside from coordinating pickup and drop-off times, but I did pull him aside at the fundraiser and tell him I thought it was inappropriate. He didn't have much of an answer. He pretty much just brushed me off. I haven't spoken to him since, but he has visitation of our daughter this weekend. Is it inappropriate for me to ask him not to bring her around our daughter again? I really am not comfortable with it at all. To answer everyone's question, yes. My husband met her when she was dating my brother, which is when she was 16. Edits. I'm not asking if I have a legal right to ask him not to bring her around. I'm asking if it is an unreasonable thing to ask of him. I absolutely do not think she should never be around my daughter. I think that the relationship should become more serious before she's around her, so my daughter does not get attached to someone who is just going to disappear from her life. I would also appreciate if my soon-to-be ex would consult me before bringing new people into my daughter's life, since I would do the same to him. We have a custody arrangement. I have primary custody, as well as sole legal custody. P.S. visitation. Now for the top advice before the little update. My dad had girlfriend after girlfriend until I met my amazing stepmom. I knew she was amazing because he waited to introduce us until he was moving in. This led me to accepting her easily. Plus, she gave me an awesome older brother to video game with. Oh, and another brother and 2 sisters. My mom ripped my father to shreds when I was around 5, however, because I became attached to one of his girlfriends and was upset about it. After that, he didn't introduce me to his girlfriends unless he had been seeing them for at least a few months or so, which only happened twice. My stepmom and his baby mama. Mine is the one who had kids, but that was slightly unrelated. I only knew he was seeing someone if my grandma happened to mention it. My dad was young, dumb, and a party animal. I'm grateful for all the fun we had growing up together on weekends. Video gaming, parties, and shindigs. But I appreciate my mom standing in for me about the girlfriend situation. This prevented a lot of potential heartache. If I wasn't broke, I'd give you an award for this, because this shows a child's perspective of what is happening to Opie. And she fully grasps this. Glad you chimed in. You can ask, but someone who will dangle the new girlfriend in front of their ex at daycare is likely to take zero notice. You don't do something like this, unless the aim is to signal to your ex. As normal people would discuss it first. As you didn't indicate your ex is very low intelligence, I expect it was intentional. Do you two share custody? No, we do not. You can include it in legal custody if you go for it. As a primary parent, you can dictate who is around your child when with the other parent. Why don't you talk to him and make an agreement that neither of you would introduce your daughter to a partner unless the relationship is serious? It has been so for a certain number of months. That sounds very reasonable for both of you. This is probably the route I'm going to go. How'd your brother's relationship end? I'd be worried about ulterior motives or revenge. With her, it ended badly. The relationship between him and her, and him and his current wife, did have a bit of an overlap. That makes your brother more of an a-hole than her. Not gonna lie, OP, I feel this is an incredibly one-sided story. I feel if the young new girlfriend was on here, she would have a very different story to yours. My brother was absolutely the a-hole here. I think his actions were mortifying, and I'm sure she would agree as well. Damn, no shortage of trash-tier men in your life. Tell me about it. Update. Thank you very much to the kind people reaching out to me. It has come to my attention that due to the fact that I have sole legal and physical custody of my daughter, I can in fact make it a stipulation that he doesn't bring intimate partners around her while she is in his care. According to my attorney, it's very common. Thank you all. I have spoken to both my attorney and my soon-to-be ex-husband about adding the stipulation into the visitation agreement. He was agreeable to it as long as it worked both ways, so for me as well, which I was of course agreeable to. Thank you to everyone for your advice and various viewpoints.